Part 2, Metabolic Reset Q&A. This is a continuation to answering the questions that came up in our live call today. Thank you for everyone who joined, and I want to synthesize all the questions that came up because the recording's only going to go to people who signed up, just to keep everyone's privacy intact who joined and signed up. But I want all these questions to be answered because they're very powerful questions. And something's going on with my interweb. Hopefully this is working. But where do we start? Let's start by first recognizing what is the metabolic reset. Why are we talking about this? Why are we doing this? What is the context of a metabolic reset? When we optimize our metabolic function, in Ayurveda, this is understood as something far beyond just our digestive capacity. The Agni, that which combusts what we take in and transforms it into our tissues, also into our energy, into our focus and our clarity. This gives us the ability to connect and relate to life in a clear, passionate, vibrant, attuned way. So what we're doing in this metabolic reset is utilizing the foundations of building a body, which is having clear senses. And clear senses will help us navigate and choose what to take in if we give ourselves the chance to actually feel those senses, right? Sense of sight, sense of smell, sense of taste, touch, sound. So in the metabolic reset that we'll do next week, in a little over a week from now, we're going to ensure that the body has everything it needs to function optimally, but not too much to where there's an excess digestive load and it causes heaviness in, again, digestive capacity, liver load, and ultimately optimize the already powerful systems that we have of digestion, of liver, of kidneys, and sweat, and calm the nervous system down so it's actually able to let go and release. So we do that through something called porridge, and we talked about that in the last video. We talked about kanji, and khichdi, and all the reasons why we use these tools. So check that one out. I'm going to continue on answering the questions about why and what we're doing here with this metabolic reset. Okay, how much time will it take? What if I can't clear my schedule? Can I still participate? Very good question. This process can take anywhere from every day, as little as 1 to 2 hours of prep to 5 hours. But it doesn't matter how much time you take, but what matters is how calm can you be in that process. And at first I can be like, oh, that's really crazy. If I'm taking a full hour to prep, I'm kind of rushing and busy. So I get that. And that's why we have such a prep period. For example, every single day, it could take 1 hour just to get the food prepped, and you have the same food for that whole day. When I'm talking about the porridge portion, and it could also, someone else could take 5 hours because they're doing the prep, but they're also doing oil massage, but they're also doing cleaning their space. But if we're taking so much time and it's causing us stress, then we want to take a dial back. The most important thing in this process is rest to reset. And we'll get to that a little bit more. So generally, give yourself 1 to 2 hours a day once we start the cleanse itself, the 1 week of porridge. Generally about 1 to 2 hours a day. Because you want to cook the food is going to be fresh, cooked every single day. It's a must for it to contain the essential nutrients that are, again, easily digestible and also have the highest amount of nutrient density and vitamins. If we use leftovers, it creates something called tamasic, a tamasic dosha, and the tamas is creates heaviness and also a sense of like inertia, meaning if I'm already feeling stressed, I'm gonna keep feeling stressed. Tamas is this inertia to continue. If I'm feeling heavy, I'm just gonna keep feeling heavy and sedentary. I don't want to keep doing things. Okay, so that's what leftovers do in Ayurveda. And just try it for yourself. The whole thing is, whether you join the cleanse or not, it doesn't even matter. All of these questions and all of this protocol, you can use these principles and just try it out yourself. Try 3 days of only freshly cooked foods for that day, not having leftovers. And I please tell me how you feel. I would be shocked if you didn't feel much brighter, more alive after those 3 days of freshly cooked foods. Okay? So about 1 to 2 hours every day. What if I can't clear my schedule to participate? I believe you can. You don't have to clear things out completely, but if you sleep earlier, you'll have more time in the morning. Okay? And if you really refuse to change your schedule, if you refuse to make any time to cook foods, then yes, this is not for you. This is not the cleanse for you. Yeah. So, I hate to say it, but this is the truth. Will I lose weight on a mono diet cleanse? Absolutely. Caveat. If your body does not need to lose weight, and we don't want to lose weight, we're already at a deficiency, then we change the structure of the mono diet. The mono diet might have meat in it instead of mung beans. But one of the biggest powers of this process is that there's simplicity, yes, which reduces the digestive load, but there's also this rhythm. There's this rhythm of taking food in at a certain time of day that connects with the circadian rhythm of the day and helps to expel much more efficiently and extract nutrients much more efficiently. And when we take breaks from the last meal to the next meal, and we can actually break down that food and work on the backlog, then our energy is again more efficient and bright and renewed. So it is very common to lose weight on mono diet. I think the last reset we had someone lose 12 pounds in 2 weeks. And, I'm always very wary of losing weight fast. And so if that's the case, like if losing weight is something you don't want to do, you reach out to me before and we can customize and change the process up. If you need more hand-holding, then we can talk about a one-on-one reset, which I also do, which can be more custom to what you need. That said, it is often that we lose weight, but the weight is often inflammation, water weight, and it can happen quite quickly. And because of that, the importance of the other aspects of the cleanse, which is calming the nervous system, doing these practices that feed us more than just food, including being together in community, that helps us to not bounce back and come back to the exact way that we were before. The exact, if maybe try to fill that gap, which can happen so often, and we talk about that in the cleanse, how to prevent the bounce back, right? And I also have a video of that on YouTube, how to prevent reverting back to old ways after a cleanse. Is the mono diet safe for everyone? Yes and no. Yes, it's safe for everyone for a certain period of time that's custom to them. So meaning everyone would be the person that's experiencing some kind of waste buildup, essentially. So there are signs in Ayurveda, we call them lakshanas, that tell us what's going on in our internal body. One of these groups of lakshanas of hundreds, thousands, are early signs of impending sickness. These early signs of impending sickness, if you're experiencing one or some of them, then doing something like a mono diet for one day or up to a week or so can be very helpful. Some of these signs are experiences of clogging in the channels. That clogging could be like congestion, mucus, low amounts of sweat. My channels just feel blocked, right? Maybe I'm having constipation too, puffiness. Then there's this inconsistent thermoregulation. The inconsistent thermoregulation could be like I'm getting hot flashes, or I'm really hot, then I'm really cold, or I'm hot and then all of a sudden my toes are freezing in my hands, my extremities. I'm getting redness or chills in the body. So inability to thermoregulate, that's inconsistent. And then there's accumulation of waste. So again, the accumulation of waste could look like breakouts, like the eczema that I had, or acne, or like waste in the eyes, the nose, like different orifices of the body, like waking up and I'm like crusty or mucusy. That would tell me that there's signs of impending sickness. Low or absent appetite. Hunger is a sign of good health. So we want to have an appetite. And ideally, we want to have an appetite during the proper circadian rhythms of the day, right? 2 or 3 times a day, maybe 4 times if we need to, have small meals at the beginning. So a good appetite. If we have a loss of appetite, then there's a sign of something's impending. Then we have abnormal taste sensations. So the sense of taste seems off, right? Which is something you might be familiar with all the COVID talk. Indigestion, so like acidity, inability, like this feeling of burping and it feels like stuck, or just heaviness. Of course, bloating, discomfort, gas that's like irregular. It's okay to have gas. Gas is a sign that you are digesting, but like constant gas that's also maybe smelly, very smelly, indigestion likely. Low quality or poor sleep. Fatigue, exhaustion on working out, heaviness and slowness of the mind. Like right now I'm feeling heaviness and slowness, a little bit of slowness of the mind. And it's probably because I just had some sweets. I had a bread, like a warm bread, and I feel heavy. But if I'm feeling that all the time, I'm probably experiencing some impending sickness. Reduction, loss of strength, endurance, reduction, loss of resilience and immunity. So I'm constantly getting sick, okay? Or like just feeling lethargic and low, no matter what. These are some signs of impending sickness. So, if you're experiencing a couple of these, then a mono diet can be really helpful. Again, even if you don't join the cleanse, can you do like a soup that your family used to make? Or like your ancestors would make? Can you have a soup for one full day, that type of soup without any other foods, and avoid snacking, and see how you feel and report back to me. I'd love to know. Question, am I going to be hungry? Am I going to be hungry? What do I do when I'm hungry? Getting in touch with those feelings. How do I not binge? Okay. Yes, we are going to get hungry. Hunger is a sign of good health. However, we want to monitor the hunger, because when hunger, which is a sign of Agni, that metabolic combustion, that capability for metabolic combustion and transformation, if we, like the first stage of that Agni is to munch on the excess doshas, which is like the regulators of the body that can become wasteful, very wasteful, and build up, create accumulation, aggravation. We talked about the stages of disease spreading in the body. And the sign of when we get hungry, the first thing it's going to munch on, that hunger, are the doshas. After that, it's going to start munching on our healthy tissues. From our healthy tissues, our prana, our life force. All of this, again, is according to Ayurveda. So what we do in this process is we do get hungry, but we monitor that hunger by giving it food during the peak hours of the day, meaning the typical drumbeat rhythm of our circadian and train. Okay, so that might be like 8 a.m., 11, and 4 or 5. Or for someone who's like has a really strong hunger, it might be like 7 a.m., 7, maybe 11, then or 7, maybe 10, and then 1, and then 5. So we could have 4 small meals a day, right? It will depend on you, and this is why guidance is really helpful. But what we're aiming for generally outside of a cleanse is 2 or 3 meals a day for most people, not everyone, always caveat. 2 or 3 meals a day is typical for most bodies. Okay. So you will get hungry, but the hunger isn't a bad thing. There's this idea that, we've been fed, if I get hungry, this means I need to shut it down, right? This experience of hunger, I need to just swallow the hunger down and stuff my face because it's painful or it's uncomfortable. But what we're trying to do is get more attuned with that discomfort and see, what else can this lightness bring? Okay, in a safe way. Okay, we always want to have our food prepped during the cleanse portion. We're going to have our food ready so that when we do get hungry, at least we have our food ready to have during those peak hours of the day. How will I feel during the cleanse? Am I going to feel depleted? Do I have energy to work out throughout the day? How can I manage cravings? Very good question. Can I work out? All of these, I'll go into the same question. So how you can expect to feel during the cleanse is, yes, there's going to be hunger at times. And what we want to do again is recognize that hunger as something that's supporting our clearing process, and it's a sign of good health, and we're going to satisfy that hunger. That's 1, okay? And 2, the depleted energy might be felt like towards at the beginning, especially when we're waning off of sugar, waning off of processed foods. But once we start to experience lightness, then we know we're balancing the doshas, the waste material is starting to flush, and we're starting to feel light. So the more we feel light, the more we actually know we're on track. We're continuing to munch on those waste products that have been lodged in the fat tissues and the GIT. So expect to feel maybe heavy, lethargic, maybe even headaches. We got some headaches last year. I definitely get headaches after caffeine, like waning off of caffeine, and then lightness. We don't want to overwork ourselves. The thing is because we'll start to feel lightness. Some people, like we had someone last year, go play basketball and work out a whole bunch, and because they were so energized. But then it took too much of their energy, and what we talked about in the last call, I believe, we talked about on our live call as well, is that proper exercise means that I feel energized for the rest of the day. If I don't feel energized for the rest of the day, then I worked out too much beyond my capacity for what was available to me at that time. So because I'm lowering my inputs, I'm simplifying in a big way in terms of the digestive load. That might mean my workouts come down. It doesn't mean stop moving. Walk, do your gentle movements, do some, maybe a little bit of dancing, maybe some yoga, things that are low impact, and or Tai Chi, see if you still feel sustained throughout the rest of the day with that movement, okay? Because the body lets go when it's relaxed. The body releases what it's been holding on to when it has the chance to. And so, it'll take some time to go from like a big work to big rest. However, the more we can create spaciousness, which you will already do because your meals will be so simple, then the easier it'll be to flush, reset, and the body will attune naturally to the rhythms of nature right now, which is spring if you're in the northern hemisphere. Okay? Maybe heavy, definitely light, and then we monitor those experiences. Are there any modifications I can make? There can be, yes. If you have a lot of modifications that need to be made because, say, you're on a certain workout regimen that you don't want to give up for some reason, or you're traveling a bunch, it might be best to do a one-on-one reset. And I also host those, so you can look at my website for that. And those can be anytime. It doesn't have to be in the spring, and because it's we can work with the customizations necessary outside of spring. But some people, like if they do a lot of physical activity, they might have meat instead of mung bean for the porridge. Okay? Some people might add vegetables sooner than just the cilantro of the porridge. Okay? So we stay in tandem, stay connected in this during the process. And if you're doing it on your own, that's why I start with 1 day of just some kind of soup that your body is already attuned to, feels wholesome having, right? Your ancestors have been making a kind of soup, I'm sure, for a while. Try that. Okay? And like I said, if you don't have mung bean, for example, I said in the first video, then maybe you have lentils instead. Okay? What we can get a hold of in our environments, like that's around us, is what we choose. Ayurveda doesn't mean you have to get some kind of crazy expensive, grain, lentil, or spice or herb to be Ayurvedic. Like, no. The Ayurveda is working with what's around you and doing the best that you can with what you have and eating it in a way that gives honor to where your hunger and digestive capacity is at that time. That is working with holism. So, how much will food cost? Food is going to be cheap. Relatively cheap these days. Getting food, I know, is a whole other issue. Like I said in my story, that there is enough food and water to go around and money to go around, but there is a hold from the 1%. And so if buying food, if for example you're on food stamps, you could still afford this. We need rice, we need a grain. Ideally it's aged white basmati, but if you can't get a hold of that, just tell me what you have and we can work with it as much as we can. And mung bean is also very cheap if you can find it. It can be the green mung, it can be the split yellow mung. It doesn't matter which one it is. It could be the split green mung. If you can only get the like brown or red lentils, you could do that one as well. We work with what we can, okay? Hi, Sagar. Good to see you. How much caffeine or other beverages can I have during the cleanse? So at the beginning, we're waning off the caffeine, okay? And that's going to probably be the most heavy part for those of us who are still having caffeine. And other than that, we work with herbal teas. What herbal teas can we have during this time? Chamomile can be nice. Butterfly pea tea can be nice. Rooibos can be nice. Green tea, at the beginning, but then we want to also wane off of the green tea for at least a few days. Ideally the whole week of the porridge, the kanji and the khichdi. And freshly boiled hot water and ginger, like ginger tea, dry ginger tea, because you can have fresh ginger too, but the dry ginger can usually be had in higher quantities for most people, and it's a stronger digestive purgative. It's something called amapachana. It helps to munch on the undigested or partially digested food stuff that's still stuck and lodged in the body. Dry ginger does a really good job at that. And if we start to get dryness, then we bring in like our at-home electrolytes, which is going to be like a squeeze of lime, pinch of salt, pinch of sugar. Okay. And these are pretty much like the basic things that you're going to need. Some kind of ideally whole white aged basmati rice, mung dal, or some kind of other kind of lentil, and then onions. You can have onions during the beginning phase, like we talked about, and the end phase. Sweet onions specifically, lemon or lime rather instead of lemons. Some sea salt. It can be pink salt, but sea salt is great too, especially, we don't have to excavate the Himalayas for them. And we can have, some peppercorn. And these are like the main foods that we need. And then everything else is in addition, right? Like different vegetables that we have during the building phase that we talked about in the other video. What are the benefits of doing a group cleanse, a group online mono diet cleanse? Why would I do this? Good question. What are the benefits of doing a group mono diet cleanse? The benefits of a group cleanse is, one, a lot of people will ask questions that you might not even known that you were asking. Two, the ability to connect over food, over our senses, in a way that's not just like overdoing like we do in a lot of holidays, and lose sight of something far greater than what we than what we're hungry for, right? Like what we're really hungry for oftentimes is connection, is being seen, is being heard. And we have all of that, and in being in a group like this, then our needs, our hunger gets fed. And so having food too is a cherry on top that makes us feel nutritive and light. And we don't have to overdo it because we're fed in so many other ways. So that's why I love the group cleanse. And also, I have to say, it does give us the opportunity to bear witness to the constriction that can happen when we're in a group. What I like about like the screen group at first is because I have the ability to sit back. I mean, just notice even your body right now. As I pull my body back, what happens to your body? Do you feel tightness? Do you feel open? Do you feel a bit more like relaxed? Just farther away from the screen? And then what happens to your body? What happens to you sensationally? What happens to you when you see me closer to the screen? Is there a tightening or an opening? Does it feel nice? Does it feel not nice? And so we have this practice that we can do in environments, which is a very necessary and powerful practice, because we're coming into a time where community is so essential. And my friend was saying the other day that I don't really like the word community. I like alliance. I was like, yes, okay, I'm with that. Because we have alliances these days of like, who's down to hold me when I'm feeling the fire, when I'm feeling intense. And we get to practice that here on these calls around something so vital. The one thing that is maybe the most vital and most intimate connection we have with Mother Earth. We take her in, we consume her, we become her. We become these animals. We become however far the food travel took to get to my plate. We become all of those things. And that is an intimate relationship. So when we do that with other people, then we learn how much capacity we have for relating. And that is not a small thing. So the benefits of being in a group means I get to challenge myself and notice, I can label it as social anxiety. I would notice every time I'm connecting with someone, I get heartbeat, I get kind of excited, I get these feelings, and we can practice that in a group space while it's virtual. So I can step back, take a big breath. Oh, I'm just noticing my body. How much can I titrate into this and titrate out of it? And that's okay. And then when I come into contact with people in real life, go into, dinner parties, I can have that same level of practice, preparation, which we're always talking about. Prep is everything. When I come into these spaces and I can feel my body there. right? So we're practicing our ability to be in community, to be in alliance, and we're also feeding things, our needs far more than just food needs. And our questions are getting answered, even if we didn't know that they were a question. Maybe because I was like stressed out about being in space. Who knows? Last one. What happens after the cleanse? Good question. After the cleanse, what can often happen is people go back to their old ways. They binge, and what happens is we lighten. Our bodies can search for the things to make it feel like it used to. Okay? Because it takes time, it takes integration, which is why the cleanse is 3 weeks and we're only cleansing with the porridge for 1 week. Because it takes time for the body and the mind to come back, to realize where it's at. It takes time. This is why, again, I have that video, what happens, how do I stop myself from reverting back to old ways after a cleanse? So that said, I'm just being frankly honest, is what can happen is we revert back to our old ways. But that doesn't mean you're bad or you've done it wrong. But can we learn from that? Can we, if we do go back to our old ways, we overeat, can I actually feel it in my body? Do I like what it feels like? Can I get more interested because I've been inquiring for 3 weeks of what is it that I actually need? I'm hungry for? What is the overwhelm that's happening here and now that's making me really need to eat these 3 cookies, 4 cookies, half a cake, or whatever it is? What is that a constriction feeling? What am I trying to depress down, weigh down? Because I'm so stimulated up here. Or what am I trying to stimulate from because I feel so heavy? Right? So you'll have these tools of inquiry. 1, you'll have a community to still tune into. The community will still be there after the cleanse. If you want to reach out and say like, hey, like I did this thing, or I want to do this thing and I just need to be seen. And you can do that. I encourage it. This is what we've had in the past. And for those of you who've cleansed before, and you've come back to your old ways, or you feel, you want to practice not going back to the old ways, is you keep working on those balancing meals. 1 grain, 1 protein, 1 or 2 vegetables, 1 or 2 spices, 1 fat source. And keep building on those. Try different things out. Try different grains. Try different types of food. Try different types of cooking and preparing. And staying aware of how your body takes that in. You learn the Jirna Ahara Lakshanas, the signs of proper digestion. And take that with you. So now I know, you're going to know how it freaking feels to feel clear, to feel strong sense of digestive capacity, to feel focused, to feel light, to have no bloating. You'll know what that feels like. And as you go into these more complex ways of eating, take stock. I feel heavy. I wonder why that might be. Was it because I didn't work out and I ate something really heavy? Or was it because I tried to have something cold and my body was cold? Was it a multiple of things? The invitation is to just be curious and give yourself grace in this work. If you want to do it perfectly, I'm sorry you're not going to, but perfectly it would look like just adding 1 change every day or every other day and measuring that change. Like, okay, I did really well with roasted vegetables, but I didn't do well with fried. And does that change in a different season? Or does that change when I work out or don't work out? So you're going to have so much information that is not going to all get answered at once. It's going to get answered throughout the course of your life. And so that's why it would be a lie for me to say, yes, this is a one and done. People come to the cleanse every single season because they know it's the maintenance. I do it every season because I have maintenance to do. Right? The body is not, the body needs to reset. It's a vessel. I'm not eating perfectly all the time with, or sleeping perfectly all the time with. So be gentle with yourself after the cleanse. Try to do a few new things at a time instead of 1,000 different things at a time, like adding extra, adding this sweet processed food, plus adding the caffeine, plus having a fried food all at once. Maybe you just have a balancing meal. Again, 1 grain, 1 protein, 1 or 2 vegetables, 1 or 2 spices, 1 fat source. And then you want to add the caffeine and see how that feels. Okay, that felt fine. That felt fine. Okay, next day I want to add dairy to it. Okay, I added dairy and having it warm was actually fine. Okay, and then I have a balancing meal again. So do a few things at a time, as much as you can, and also give yourself grace for being a human in this human existence that is constantly, working to sell us stuff. Consumerism. Saying have more and more and more, but the first stage of disease is accumulation. So we have a few odds against us, but that doesn't make this impossible. Not at all. Okay. That's what I have. Those are all the questions. I don't see any other questions coming through. But if you have questions, put them in the chat, please. Send me a DM. Again, we're going to start the cleanse on the 8th of April. And all the information is in my bio. If it's very affordable for those of us who are in the Northern Hemisphere. It's quite affordable. It's $222 for 3 weeks, 4 calls a week. And if you can't make it to the calls, they'll be recorded. Each call is different. It's not just me talking at you. It's self-study. It's cleaning out your fridge. It's cooking. It's, doing a somatic practice, receiving some sound healing. Each call is different, but structured in a way that resets the metabolism. So we're crowding out us making choices that might be harmful, and chewing on the information and practices that connect us to ourselves and to our environments and all beings, and create efficiency, strength, and clarity. Okay? And if money is an issue, reach out to me. There are scholarships. Okay? I love you. I hope this is helpful. Again, if you have more questions, send me a message. 222 price goes up on the last week, right? Which is on the 2nd. But again, just reach out to me. I'm here for you. I love you. And now it's time for a walk before dinner. Okay? And then karaoke for me. Because it's Sunday and I need to get my soul singing on. Okay. I love you. Thank you for